Hello and welcome to the preview of Manchester United taking on Newcastle at Old Trafford, a 12:45 kickoff here in the UK. I've got Nate and Joey to discuss the game at Old Trafford. Thanks for joining me. Joey, what are you expecting from this game? I mean, we're at home, Old Trafford. Another possibly on paper looks like a decent game for Manchester United. We've got 3 wins out of 3 so far. Are you confident going into this match?
Me? Yeah, I'm absolutely confident. Newcastle,
Newcastle,
they've done some business. Dan, you got to mute me. I can hear it. All right, there you go. Yeah, Newcastle have done some decent business, and Mitrovic, the striker who looks like a complete nut job, came on twice, got a yellow card almost instantly. But I like that. I like that type of fiery striker. Kind of a prick. And Georgino Wijnaldum is a good player who played for PSV last season. And I've seen him for the Dutch team too. He's a decent, attacking midfielder. But that being said, we're at home. Confidence should be flowing. 3 wins in a row. 2 clean sheets in the league. Would love it to be a third. I just think with our style, how we've been playing, I think it's getting better. We've been, against Spurs, woeful. Still got the win. Villa, getting better. Should have scored more goals, but got the win. And then we saw Memphis kind of break out of his shell against Club Brugge, and should have been another clean sheet if it weren't for 2 deflections. So yeah, I am confident because I think the football should start. This is the you expect the same team. You expect I'll give you my team later, but you expect maybe Schweinsteiger comes in, but you got the same back four, same goalkeeper, Rooney up front, Memphis on one wing, Mata on the other. We want to see some chemistry going where players know where they're going to be without even have to point or say anything. So, yeah, I'm very confident. We have a good record against Newcastle, and so does Wayne Rooney.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a great game to go into. Nate, are you pretty confident as well about going into this game against Newcastle? 3 wins on the spin. It seems like the perfect game at Old Trafford, doesn't it? I mean, Newcastle aren't particularly playing very well either. So, are you expecting 3 easy points in this game?
Yeah, I definitely am expecting 3 points. I don't see any reason why there shouldn't be. Obviously, that's why you play the game. But like you said, looking at it on paper, it just seems like it's the perfect match at the perfect time for us while we're still gelling. The defense has looked unbelievable, much to probably my dismay and others. But even then, we've been unbelievable. And even the goal we gave up on Tuesday, an own goal, it's another clean sheet for the defense. They've been unbelievable. So I'm expecting nothing different. I'd like to see us break out and score a few goals. I'd like to see Rooney get off the duck this season and really kind of put to bed some of these rumors so that we can spend the last 7 days of the transfer window freaking out over nothing, and then it'll close and we'll actually get to focus on football again. So I don't see any reason why we shouldn't get away with 3 points, but that's why they play the game. But I'm sure Van Hall will have all his men ready to play.
Yeah, definitely. I think we should be looking at this game as a 3-pointer. I mean, Newcastle are nowhere near one of the top teams in the Premier League like they used to be years ago. Joey, I mean, Memphis had a pretty decent game against Club Brugge. Do you think he's going to be the talisman in these sort of games against maybe the teams sort of in the second half of the Premier League table, where we can look to take over as the main man now to break these teams down at Old Trafford? Because over the years, I know we've got a good record against Newcastle, but even last season we've seen against like the likes of West Brom, where we lost 1-0 and we had so much to the play. Do you feel he could now be that man to help us unlock the team, talisman, Memphis?
Well, you saw it. He has a bit of trickery that can get him by the defense. So it'll be interesting. He's got that cut in from the left. He can beat a man or two, which is kind of what you need. Also, Schweinsteiger, I think, will be big in that because he likes to do those little flicks over the back line, and he can be vital for that. I just think, Memphis, I don't want to put too much pressure on him right away. So,
Oh, sorry, I'm muted as well. Yeah, I think we've lost Joey here. So I don't know if you've got any thoughts you want to say on Memphis. I mean, he's come had a really good game against Club Brugge the other day. Do you think he could be the key man to unlock Newcastle in this game coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the one we've been looking for. Somebody, even in the last couple of seasons, we've run into those matches, even with David Moyes, that we couldn't break down those teams. Exactly like you said, we needed somebody to do that. And he's 21. He's not going to do it every time this season. But to be honest, I wouldn't put it past him if he did. He's got that confidence and that swagger that we've missed. And Ronaldo had that. He took care of us. Rooney had that at a time, but he's kind of morphed and changed into a different player. So we always need that person. And I don't see any reason why he can't be that one, even this season, but especially going forward.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we don't really want to put too much pressure on him at this early stage, but he did score a couple of fantastic goals, obviously, against Club Brugge. Obviously, looking ahead to this game, Newcastle have obviously signed a few players. I don't know where you see their biggest threat, Nate. I mean, obviously they've got Steve McLaren now as manager, so it's probably going to be a more difficult game than it was last season. But do you really think that the likes of Cisse and that can cause us much of a threat this season at Old Trafford?
They definitely can. I mean, he's a good striker. Like we were talking about before we came on, you just never know with Cisse. If you give him some time, he's gonna fuck it up. But if he's running on the ball, he doesn't have to think. Like you said, he can produce a cracking goal. And so I think we have to be aware of him, especially. I like Joey was saying with Wijnaldum in the middle there. I think he's a good player for them. Newcastle, you never know. You know, sometimes they show up and they're just on a different level than they normally play, and that's tough. And I think it's obviously why they don't win a lot of trophies. They're not going to really compete until they kind of create that consistency where you play at the top level every week. So those kind of things are interesting when you watch teams like Newcastle, like last year, West Brom, Swansea, some of these teams where you're just unsure how they're going to play, and then suddenly you're losing 1-0 and you can't seem to find the goal you need. So I'm expecting the same from Newcastle tomorrow. I definitely think they're going to come to Old Trafford a bit wary, having watched us. Our defense has been unbelievable, and I think Newcastle's going to know that. So breaking that defense down, I'm sure that's on McLaren's mind, but I don't think he wants to give up goals. So their caution, hopefully that will be the difference for us. We can go out, get an early goal or two, and then really put this match to bed with defense and then catching them on the counter for maybe another goal or two. I'd really like to see us score some goals tomorrow against the Newcastle side. That's decent, but again, is not going to be anywhere near the top four.
Yeah, I've got to agree there, especially with where you said about getting an early goal. At Old Trafford, a lot of times over the years we've struggled to, obviously everyone does struggle when teams have sometimes put 10 men behind the ball, and it can be difficult. And if you do get an early goal, sometimes it can open it up a bit, and it can be a lot easier game. Looks like Joey's now come back. What sort of team would you stick with? The same team he's picked in the last two games, Joey, for this game, or do you want to switch it up a bit? I would have liked to have seen him switch it up a bit in the Club Brugge game, but I don't know if you feel maybe this game's the best game to switch it up a bit. We might have some harder tests to come.
I don't want to completely change a team, but I think maybe bringing Schweinsteiger in for Carrick. I mean, Carrick's played every game so far. I know it's early, and I don't want to talk about resting players because whatever. But Michael Carrick is 33, 34. He was our most injured player. Like, he spent the most time in the physio room last year. So I think bring Schweinsteiger in. Schweinsteiger's played 3 games coming off the bench in the second half, and he's looked great doing so. And I think I think just him and Schneiderlin are better for the philosophy, for the team, for the tactics, things like that. So I wouldn't mind seeing Schweinsteiger start and then maybe Carrick come off the bench. I will say this: I would like same team front four of Januzaj, Mata, Memphis, and Rooney. I would like to see Pereira come off the bench too, maybe for Mata, because I didn't think Mata had the best game against Bruges. I thought he gave the ball away. He gave away that foul for the goal. He's not a winger. I would love to see him in the number 10 role, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I would love to see Andres Pereira come off the bench and play out wide. Also, wouldn't mind seeing Hernandez come off the bench. He looked pretty good against Bruges. I know it's them, but if he's going to be around here, let's see what he's got. I thought he would be absolutely horrible in this system. We'll have to wait and see. He looked up for it. We know he can score goals in the Premier League, so I would like to see, same team with Schweinsteiger come in for Carrick, and then maybe Pereira and Hernandez off the bench, and we'll have to see. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I actually pretty agree with what you said there. I mean, Nate, I don't know if you've got any other thoughts you want to say on what team you'd go for. I mean, do you think that Januzaj still deserves a space in the starting the lineup? I know he got his goal against Aston Villa last week, but I didn't think he had the best 2 games he's had for Manchester United. I mean, I didn't think he was the best in the week, but would you still start him, or would you change a couple of players from the starting lineup?
That's a good question. It's so hard to know with quality players, with younger guys. They need a rest. With Van Gaal, you never know. Is he happy with them? He scores the goal against Aston Villa, but Van Gaal likes to remind everyone of our mistakes, which is fine. Keeping players, keeping them grounded, I don't mind. But should he start? For me, for tomorrow, I would say no. I'd really like to see Hernandez start up front with Rooney just being pushed back into the 10 spot, and then Schweinsteiger for Carrick. That would be my only changes, because I think that team could flow really good. And with Schweinsteiger in, we've been unbelievable. So I'd like to see that change. I don't think he'll do it. I'm pretty sure he's just going to stick with what he's been doing. I know he's a man of habit and really likes to see his philosophy followed. So I can't fault him for that in any way, but I'd love to see Hernandez given a chance up front with Rooney behind him, and I think we could see what we want to see out of the players from it as far as attacking goes, and be able to see Schweinsteiger control the midfield better than Carrick has done this season. Carrick's a natural slow starter, always been that way. And then once he gets going, he's Michael Carrick again. But he's 34, going on 35. It's not always going to be that way. And in this case, as old as everyone else seems to think Schweinsteiger is, he's not that old yet. So I'd really like to see that change. I don't think Van Gaal will make it. I do think Januzaj should get sat, but I don't think he will. So those are my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I've got to agree. I think that Schweinsteiger should come back into the should come into the starting lineup. I mean, he took Carrick off at half time in the last one, so we'll have to see what happens there. But yeah, it's interesting about that Hernandez thing. I'm still not sure if he's got much of a future at Manchester United, but we will have to see. He could definitely come back in because at the moment Rooney's still not hitting top form, but I thought he was a lot better against Club Brugge than he has been in the other games. I thought he was really poor in the previous game. So, and obviously, as we talked before, a great assist for that chance that Memphis had. So hopefully Rooney will start getting better, because he seems to take a few games to get going, and then afterwards he gets a few goals and he doesn't stop scoring. So hopefully we will get some goals from him soon. Obviously, moving on to use the last 24 hours that obviously Pedro has signed for Chelsea. I mean, Joey, do you think that this is a real big blow that Pedro is now signed for Chelsea, because we still haven't got anyone else on the wing? I mean, do you think that Januzaj still has a future this season, or do you think he's going to go out on loan? Because if he goes out on loan, we're going to need a player like Pedro, aren't we, to come into the team for these sort of games? Because I don't know how you feel, but I think Ashley Young's still a bit of a limited player for me, and maybe we could do with another player on that side.
Well, I guess I won't really know if losing Pedro was a big blow until the end of the window. If they go out and bring in Gareth Bale, or even if they try and hijack Kevin De Bruyne, you just don't know. Right now, if you look at it, yeah, it's kind of a loss, because he's a good player. He brings pace, he brings experience. He's a winner, and he goes to one of your rivals who you're fighting for the title with. So, in the end of the day, whether you want to admit it or not, Pedro would have been a good addition, And any Man United fan that says different is either lying or bitter, in my opinion. We'll have to wait and see. I think with Januzaj, I think he needs to do something, and I don't know. I mean, I think it was against Bruges where he was through on goal. Defender was kind of snapping at his heels, and he ended up getting pushed over. And now I don't know if he was going down for the penalty, trying to get the penalty, or if he just isn't strong enough, but he needs to do something because, from what I have heard before this summer was that, they're getting he was on his last little chance because he has a really bad attitude. That's what I've been told. I don't know if, take that with a grain of salt, make of it what you will. But, I mean, the kid's young. We'll have to wait and see what he does. I think going out on loan would probably – I don't want to see him go to Sunderland. I know Sunderland have taken Danny Welbeck, and he's done well there. But I just don't want to see him in a relegation fight around that negativity all around him. I want to see him playing with us and getting his chance. This club's built on youth, and it's in our DNA. Class of '92 and all the players that Sir Alex brought through. And I want to see us give Pereira and Januzaj a real chance if we don't buy players. People sometimes forget that we have them. Pereira was one of the brighter spots, I thought, in the preseason tour. So we'll have to wait and see, though. Like I said, I keep saying that, but it's going to be an interesting, 10 days left, 9 days left, end of the window. The teams that we're competing for the Premier League with are strengthening, and we're kind of just sitting here. We addressed our midfield. We brought in an excellent right back. We got our future, superstar in Memphis. I really think Memphis is going to be a superstar. So we'll have to just wait and see. I think that this team is a few tweaks away from really challenging for the title. I still have us finishing third or maybe even fourth now. I had City fourth because they were kind of sitting on their thumbs and all they had was Sterling. Then they go out and get Otamendi and they're going to keep Mangala and now they're going to get De Bruyne. That's one of the best front fours. I think it's the best front four in England by far. I think Sterling's got great pace. I think De Bruyne will bring you pace and trickery and assists. David Silva is a magician, pulls the strings, and then you have Sergio Aguero, who's just, for me, the best player in the league. So, and even behind that, they got Yaya Toure and Fernandinho, and then right down the spine of that team. We'll have to see. I mean, City should really, really challenge for the Champions League, in my opinion, but they don't have that mentality of winning it. It's funny because they haven't been able to defend the title. They've been able to snatch it back and win it, but they haven't been able to defend it. So we'll have to wait and see. I know I kind of went on a rant about City and my thoughts on them, but we're going to have to wait and see, like I said, and hopefully we've only got a net spend of like £9 million. So maybe, who knows, maybe they go out and spend $150 million in the next 9 days and everybody shuts up. And then Woodward's the toast of the town again.
Well, we did hear before that we had about 150 million to spend, didn't we? So, and as you say, the net spend is so low. So really, we should be going out and spending about another 100 million odd. But Nate, do you think that obviously the Pedro and Otamendi deals have both fallen through? Do you think that's because he's going to Ed Woodward's looking to sign maybe Thomas Muller and maybe, I don't know, someone else, Gareth Bale even? I know they're both forwards, and they're probably not going to now get a centre half. It probably looks like that. But do you think maybe he's got his eyes now on bigger things?
Yeah, I do. It's interesting with Pedro because I don't know that he is necessarily on our radar, and maybe he made the list. Joey and I were talking back, I think last week, about the list that the club might have, that the manager has, 3 or 4 players in every position that they would be interested or willing to bring into the club, and so obviously seeing that list would be unbelievable. But obviously the Otamendi thing is interesting because he's a good defender, would absolutely make us better. But if we were never interested, which is what it's actually looking like now, and that's one thing. Twitter and social media have blown it up into being we lost out, and then I get tweets from Liverpool and Arsenal and Chelsea people saying we've missed out and all this stuff. But if you follow the timeline of events, especially for Pedro, you'll see that we just weren't sure on it. He had a buyout clause. Chelsea showed it was that simple. And just because Chelsea suddenly showed up at the end lets me know that they were waiting for us. We didn't do anything. We decided against it. Chelsea stepped in and did it. I think Pedro is going to be quality and could have been quality for us too. He's a hard worker. He gets goals and assists. I mean, there's not much more we can ask for. He's not going to score 30 or 40 goals, but he's going to give you 10, maybe 12, and the same amount of assists. I mean, that would have been amazing to have. So now I'm hoping that means that the names that we're after we actually have a shot at, and that they're bigger names than that. And that's tough. Otamendi's an interesting one because he's really only had one great season, but it was a really, really great season. He shut down Messi. I watched both of the Barca matches against Valencia last year. He was unbelievable, and it was amazing to watch because that doesn't happen against Messi. So he would have made us better. Pedro would have made us better. But, the manager decided against it, and for now I'm behind the manager. If he doesn't want him, that's great. But I have to believe we've got somebody else coming. And if that's Bale, if that's Muller, impossible targets in my opinion, then good. Let's go out and flex our muscles. If it's money, if it's LVG making a call, if it's whatever it might be, we should go out and do it because we want to get better. And right now, with the lower clubs spending so much, the higher clubs are going to have to spend even more to kind of keep that top four, deserved place or whatever. It's starting to get muddled now in the middle with so much money being spent and so many quality players coming into teams who before we would have laughed, like, why would anyone want to join Stoke or this or that? But it's just not the way anymore. Players want to play in the Premier League. They want to make great money, and now's the time to do it. So I hope we're stepping up for a great player. I still think we should sign a quality center back. Who that is, I'm hoping it's somebody young. I'd hoped it was a settled center back, but I don't see that happening. I would like to see us go for Stones or Laporte, somebody who could be the future left side with Rojo, so we have quality in every position. But for me, Bale is the man. I would love to see him come and just shred apart the Premier League like he did in his last season at Tottenham. I watch his 30-something goals that season on YouTube all the time. They were unbelievable goals, and I think he could step up and do it again.
Yeah, I've got to agree. I would love to see Gareth Bale there, but there's not really that many great centre halves out there now that we could be signing. So as you said, probably a younger one probably would have to be the option now. Obviously, it looks like Chelsea are going to get John Stones, so we'll have to see who else. But we're a bit limited now to who we can get because obviously we've lost out on Ramos and Otamendi. But I still think that probably someone, a forward player, will come into Manchester United. I'm really hoping. I mean, do you think we're going to, Joey? Do you think we're going to shock everyone? And do you think a Muller or a Bale will come into the club before the summer window does shut?
It won't be about money, honestly, because I think that they are going to flex their financial muscles. But I just, like I was been saying on Stretty News, and I think I've said it on here, what reason do Bayern Munich have to sell? Absolutely none. They don't need to sell them. They're not in a financial burden. Same thing with Real Madrid. Why would they sell? I think we'll pay Gareth Bale and Thomas Muller, who are both Adidas, athletes, and they'll get Adidas will offer them both a pay raise, and they'll get paid. That's why I just don't think it's about money. I think these players are comfortable. Gareth Bale, from a young age, apparently, as a kid, wanted to be a Real Madrid player. He knows that he can go out back to England anytime he wants. Anytime he wants. Ed Woodward wants Gareth Bale so bad because he's probably the best, player in the UK, from the UK. So he can have him whenever he wants. So he's always got that option, And with Thomas Muller, his girlfriend's like German, or his wife, he's German. That's his home country. Bayern Munich's, he came through the ranks there. Unless he wants a challenge, he doesn't seem like the type of player that's interested in money. Those two players, I would take either one. I think they need to bring in a forward. I think they need to bring in a right winger or a striker or somebody who can play across all those positions. That's why Pedro was such a good option, because he was available. It was a decent price. They want to bring in Sadio Mane. I don't know much about him. I know he's fast and he scored the fastest Premier League hat trick, but is he really going to win you the league? Is he going to contribute to you? I know that he also has the most goals for a midfielder since December, but playing for Southampton and playing for Manchester United are two totally different things. Could he live up to that pressure and that expectation? Some players can't. So we'll have to, I'm not going to say it again because I said it so many times. We'll have to wait and see. But they need to do something, I think, as terms of forward line. I'm not going to go crazy and, say Woodward out or LVG out, because I think the goals will come from Memphis. I think he's going to produce, 10 to 15 Premier League goals, and we had Herrera can score and Schwein. People can score. We got to see what Rooney can do, but I just think you need to, youthen it up, get a little bit younger. I think, looking at Chelsea, it kind of reminded me of when Moyes took over. He had that title-winning squad and he didn't add to it. They didn't really add to their squad until they lost the first few games. If Moyes were to lose to Swansea that first game, and then I think it was Chelsea the next game, if he loses that game, I know we drew, Maybe they do go out and spend big finally. That was a big mistake not spending that summer. People are saying that we spent so much money over the last 2 years, but you have to spend a lot of money like we have so that when you do get a good team, then you just need to add like 2 or 3 players every year for 50 million pounds, 60 million pounds. Sir Alex Ferguson did that. Obviously he built his teams in a different way, but then he would add pieces here and there. Get younger. When Ronaldo left, all we did was bring in Valencia. That wasn't good enough. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, I just think that minimum, I think they need to bring in 2 players. I think we're going to be all right defensively. I just need to see us score some more goals. I need to know when the goals are going to come from, because to rely on Memphis is going to be tough. I don't want to have to rely completely on him. Wayne Rooney needs to start banging them in.
Yeah, hopefully that will come with time. I mean, if we could bring in one more player to play on the wing, like a similar player to Pedro, I think the chances will get better for Wayne Rooney. Okay, moving along. I mean, that's pretty much all about the transfer news and everything. But I don't know if you want to give your score predictions. I'll go for you first, Nate. How do you see the match going? Do you think it's going to be a really comfortable game?
I do think it'll be a comfortable game. I think we might give up a goal, but I'm going for 3-1 to United, and hoping that Rooney gets off the duck, maybe even with a double.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and how do you see it going, Joey? Do you think we're going to score quite a few goals in this game?
Yeah, I do. I think we should. That's what I think we should score a few goals. I think I'll go for 3-0. Rooney's definitely going to get one, though. I got a good feeling, so go to the bank with that one.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that Wayne Rooney will get one in this game, because over the last few years, he has got quite a few goals against Newcastle. So, and I think he got 2 against Newcastle last year when he was playing in midfield. So, even when he was playing in midfield, he got a couple. So hopefully he can have another good game in this game. And I'm really confident going into this game. I think about a 4-1 victory. I think Newcastle aren't good enough, and hopefully we can get an early goal and hopefully roll them over. Anyway, thanks to everyone for watching. Nate, do you just want to tell everyone where to find you on Twitter and everywhere?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. I'm at Nathaniel Hyatt, just my name, but it goes under Reds of the World, which is my blog, redsoftheworld.wordpress.com, and then also same thing on my YouTube channel, Reds of the World. So if you guys want to find me there on Twitter, I'm always on. I'm always talking Manchester United. Yeah,
thanks for coming on and joining us. And obviously, Joey, you're on Twitter and hosting a lot on Stressy News. Do you want to just remind everyone whereabouts they will find you there?
It's at Joey Tabor, my name. Yeah, look at me. I'll be hosting some Stressy News. I'm also a panelist every week, every middle of the week we do like a Champions League review. So go check that channel out and get at me on Twitter.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Anyway, thanks to everyone for watching tonight. Let us know your thoughts in the comments box below, and let us know your score predictions for the game. And we'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with a review of the game. Hopefully Manchester United get the 3 points. So we'll talk to you all soon. Thanks.